Utah Business is delighted to present the 2021 30 Women to Watch Awards, celebrating the innovative women reshaping their industries and our state. Today's event is sponsored by Mashoff Brennan, FFKR Architects, Comcast, Digital Bytes Production and Design, Holland and Hart, Overstock, Purple, Tech 9, Walker Edison, Webb, Keras, Chatbooks, David Eccles School of Business at the University of Utah, Goebel Anderson PC, Jane, Kimmy's Chop and Oyster House, Lucid, MX, New Skin International, Recursion, Squire and Company, The Mill at Salt Lake Community College, Utah State University MBA, Young Living Essential Oils, YWCA Utah, the Grand America Hotel and the Grand Spa. And now, please welcome your Master of Ceremonies, anchor for ABC4 News, Emily Clark.
Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. I'm so excited to be here with you to celebrate 30 amazing women who are making our state a better place to live. So we welcome you to the 22nd annual Utah Business 30 Women to Watch Awards Luncheon. Applause, applause. Thank you. We do appreciate you taking time out of your day to help us honor these very special women. Today, we spotlight 30 Utah businesswomen who are a strong part of the business foundation here in our state. These incredible women represent just a glimpse of Utah's many outstanding women in business. We are fortunate in this state to have a strong, vibrant community of female business leaders who are working to open doors for themselves and their peers. But today, we're here to recognize these 30 outstanding business professionals who have seen beyond the ordinary to bring about the extraordinary in themselves and those around them. These women span job titles, industries, and professions. They range in age and experience. Their professions are as diverse as our state, from marketers to real estate professionals, from a senior mortgage consultant to a nonprofit executive. Company presidents, vice presidents, attorneys, and entrepreneurs. The list is long, but it is good. This is an accomplished, varied group, and we are pleased to be able to give them the recognition that they do deserve. Utah Business provides award-winning, in-depth journalism on the tech and entrepreneurial businesses at the forefront of our nation's economy. Their print and digital publication reaches executives across the state and provides live, deep dive events on the industries which are shaping each of our futures. Please welcome Editor-in-Chief of Utah Business Magazine, Elle Griffin.
Good afternoon. I know we all want to hear from our presenting sponsors and also from Rachel Hofstetter. But before we do, I just want to remind everyone why this event is important. Because every year when we host our CEO and CXO of the Year awards, we struggle to find women to add to those lists. And this isn't because there's not enough women nominated for the award, it's because there's not enough women C-levels to nominate. To hedge against this, I keep a spreadsheet of every woman CEO, entrepreneur, C-level executive, and investor in the state. By my count, there are about 56, 72, and 4 respectively. I'm adding to it all the time, but those are relatively small numbers. Last year, we wondered whether we had officially honored every single woman CEO in the state of Utah. That's why we host this event, because the women in this room are the next in line. For startup investment, for the C-suite, for the boardroom, we handpicked our state's most talented, hardest working, and most creative entrepreneurs, executives, and executive directors, and now we're sharing that list with you. So take advantage. Don't say there's no one good out there, because these women are proof that our state has a lot to offer, and I encourage you to look at this year's 30 Women to Watch list next time you're hiring for positions of leadership within your companies. Before we get started, I just want to thank our presenting sponsors, Mashoff Brennan, FFKR Architects, and our premier sponsors, Comcast, Digital Bytes Production and Design, Holland & Hart, Overstock, Purple, Tech9, Walker Edison, and Webb, and our photo and video sponsor, the Grand America Hotel and Grand Spa, as well as all of our primary sponsors for supporting these women. And congratulations to this year's honorees. We are so excited to celebrate you today. Thanks.
Thank you. Mashoff Brennan provides legal counsel and representation to some of our world's most innovative companies, with over 45 attorneys and offices in the technology-focused regions of Utah and California. Their attorneys are known for having the breadth of experience and the forward-thinking insight needed to handle complex technological and business issues across all industries and geographic boundaries. They have extensive experience representing clients in federal and state courts across the country and before the ITC, USPTO, PTAB, TTAB, and other administrative agencies in Washington, D.C. Please give a warm welcome to Alexis Juergens, attorney at law with Mashoff Brennan.
Good afternoon, I'm Alexis Juergens, and I'm an intellectual property attorney with Mashoff Brennan. And I'd like to join Emily Clark, Elle Griffin, and the entire team at Utah Business Magazine in welcoming you all to this exceptional event. So last year was my first year attending this event, and I remember leaving here with a sense of optimism. When I attended last year, we had been a few months deep into the pandemic, so things were a little drab, to say the least. But being able to see the stories of 30 amazing women and seeing all that they had accomplished really encouraged me to keep moving forward. And hearing those women's stories reminded me that no matter the circumstances, we are capable of success. I am excited to be here again with another group of amazing women who have been named 2021's 30 Women to Watch. And I'm excited to learn a bit about each of these women today and see how each of them have been able to find their own unique path to their individual success. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor once said, "I think it's important to move people beyond just dreaming into doing. They have to be able to see that you are just like them and you made it." This event seems extremely fitting for this quote because being a young woman in business myself, when I am able to see all that these incredible women have accomplished in my own community, it provides me a sort of encouragement that I'm not able to attain anywhere else. Today's honorees found their own unique path to their individual success. Each one overcame their own obstacles, each has their own exceptional talents, and they each have their own story to tell. To those we are recognizing today, thank you. Thank you for what you bring to this community, and thank you for your tireless efforts to ensure that in the future, those barriers might not be so high. We appreciate all that you do.
FFKR Architects provides innovative, client-centered planning, architectural, interior, landscape, and urban design services to a broad range of clientele across the United States. FFKR has a reputation for design excellence, environmental leadership, and budgetary responsibility, and has been a Western Mountain Region AIA and AIA Utah Firm of the Year. They maintain a staff of over 160 architects, designers, and support personnel who have the talent, the expertise, and the passion to meet their clients' most demanding challenges. FFKR Architects places the client at the center of their practice and works closely with each client to determine needs and concerns, then explores possibilities to determine a clear, client-selected direction. Their guided design philosophy centers on discovering within the client site, program, and budget, that special something to elevate a project above the sum of its parts. Through careful detailing, environmental responsibility, and sensitivity to project context, the firm achieves high-quality, lasting architecture. Please welcome to the stage Senior Principal Architect with FFKR Architects, Greta Anderson.
Thank you, and good afternoon. How honored FFKR Architects is to participate in this annual event, recognizing outstanding women in our community. It means a lot to us. As an architect working in a historically male-oriented profession, I understand and appreciate the struggles that women face to be recognized for their achievements. Many times throughout my career, I have found myself in a conference room or a job trailer looking around, and I'm the only woman there, and 12 men or something. But that's changing, and it has been a delight for me to see the number of women in leadership increasing in my profession, and it's very encouraging. And I do want to point out, it takes both men and women, right, to elevate women, and I just want to acknowledge the men who, with integrity, support and lift us up. So thank you for that. FFKR's 40, yes, you all deserve a round of applause. Those of you, you know who you are. FFKR's 45-year legacy of diverse projects includes everything from healthcare to temple projects. So some landmark projects you may be familiar with, Abravanel Hall, the natural The Museum of Natural Curiosity, the Salt Lake Temple, just recently, that renovation is on our list. And so we cover a broad range of projects. My specific architectural expertise is in kinder through 12. And that's a real passion of mine. And I feel very honored to create these learning environments that support our community. Utah has always valued family. However, we constantly rate last in per pupil spending, and that may come as a surprise to some of you, given our emphasis and our love for our children and our students. And yes, much has been done. I'm heartened by all of the progress we've made in recent years to course correct, but we still have a long way to go. Students understand when an investment is made in their future in the form of a healthier, safer, inspirational school building. Hopefully, the women we are celebrating today understood that someone cared about their bright futures, as our students hopefully feel today when they walk into a new school. How inspired I am by the determination of these women who we're honoring today to create change and improve lives. I offer my congratulations to you exceptional women and eagerly await the positive continued impact you will have on our community. Thank you.
Webb is a full-service event company based here in Salt Lake City. In addition to live events such as this one, Webb is now producing virtual events to help clients continue delivering their message to thousands of attendees around the world. Whether virtual or live, Webb is one of the most creative and innovative event companies in the market. Rather than say more, let's show you who they are.
It's been said that the 2 a.m.s were made for poets, for painters, for writers, for drifters. Those fleeting hours are for us, the creators, the midnight oil burners, the problem solvers. That sacred time when darkness falls and inspiration comes knocking. Boundaries crumble, magic reveals. Those decisive moments when walking away seems sensible. We push beyond, inviting the challenge, preparing for the adrenaline rush, exhausting excellence. We didn't stay up all night to be mediocre. We stayed to be extraordinary.
Okay, that's cool. Now to our main keynote speaker this afternoon. Rachel Hofstetter is the Chief Marketing Officer at Chatbooks, which helps busy moms and dads, just like yours truly, easily make photo books of their family's everyday life. Rachel has led the company's marketing efforts to achieve hyper growth with double and triple revenue growth years. Pairing lessons from her economics degree with creative storytelling experience honed working as a magazine editor, Rachel has designed a data-first and technology-driven marketing team that has won widespread brand marketing acclaim. The Chatbooks Real Mom commercials, with a 100 million views and counting, have each been recognized as Adweek's Ad of the Day. Rachel was the co-founder and CEO of software startup Guesterly, which was acquired by Chatbooks back in 2015, and the educational course PR School, acquired by Savor, the success in 2016. Rachel was first inspired to start her own business while interviewing entrepreneurs in her role as an editor at the Oprah magazine, where she reached 10 million plus readers on a monthly basis and represented the Oprah brand in partnerships and collaborations. She went on to write Cooking Up a Business from Penguin Random House. She is the recipient of the 2020 CXO of the Year Award from Utah Business, the Growth Leadership Award from the Women Tech Council, and a winner of the 2016 Utah Venture Entrepreneur Forum's Peak 100 Top 10 Entrepreneurs. She also serves on the Board of Trustees of Intermountain Healthcare's Salt Lake Valley Hospital System. Please give a warm welcome to our keynote speaker today, Rachel Hofstetter.
We are in a powerhouse room here today, both here and those joining us online. And as I look around, I can't stop thinking how glorious it is to be out and about like this again, getting inspired by my fellow Utahns doing amazing things. But what a year we've had. Even in this challenging and unpredictable year, you may have experienced a big career leap. Or, if you're like me, the past year may have been about survival mode. You dealt with disruptions to your job, childcare, life. You may have triaged or given yourself a season of grace. And for the record, that is 100% okay. I will also be the first to admit, raise my hand and admit it, that I've experienced a bit of a pandemic slump. Like you, I know I have done impressive things in the past. I think I will do them again in the future. But many times in the past year, I have felt not so impressive. Like when our nanny said, "I know you are a chief marketing officer, but I've only ever seen you in sweatpants." She was nice not to mention unshowered. The pandemic slump can show up in various ways, both professionally and personally. For me, it often feels like I can power through the day-to-day tasks on my list, but struggle to be creative or think big picture. Psychologist Adam Grant recently wrote about this slump feeling, calling it languishing. Not depressed, not burned out, but languishing, just not operating at the level we want to or feeling like the best version of ourselves. But right now, literally, the start of summer 2021 feels like a fresh start. Am I right? Fresh start? Temporal landmarks like the new year or this post-pandemic moment are scientifically proven to be ideal for a reset. A few years ago, I was at a transitional point in both my career and personal life. I didn't feel like I was bringing my best self to the party, and the paths ahead felt hazy. I didn't verbalize it at the time, but I was in a slump. And I needed a tool, a metaphorical flashlight, if you will, to help me navigate through the haze and get my groove back. For me, that tool was what I call a jumpstart challenge, a hyper-focus on one area for a set time period with a goal to up-level, recharge. That Jumpstart Challenge provided structure and accountability to an otherwise amorphous time and was like a flashlight through the fog. So today, I'd like to share that story with you, and then a few ideas for kickstarting your own challenge so we can all get back to flourishing. So, 10 years ago, I was flying pretty high on life. I was the food editor at Oprah magazine. My husband and I lived on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, and I had signed a book deal with Penguin Random House. Life was really great. It was that book that would be my undoing. I was writing about how popular indie food brands got started, and as I interviewed these inspiring entrepreneurs, I had a dawning realization that this startup thing sounded fun, and that these entrepreneurs weren't born with special knowledge or skills, but were figuring it out as they went along. So I did the crazy thing. I began my own technology startup, trading my high heels for sneakers so I could run around the city and meet with investors and convince developers and designers to burn the midnight oil on my project. That first year was exhilarating and all-encompassing, and I was in a honeymoon phase with my business. But gradually, the honeymoon ended. Nothing had gone wrong, exactly, But the business plateaued, and I didn't have the clarity to know if it could be more or how to get to the next level. In the midst of this plateau, my husband and I also decided to move west to the technology hub and amazing mountains of Utah. At first, I thought this might be the antidote to my startup slump. It was definitely a distraction. But after the unpacking, I found that I had just transported my slump across the country. Now, I was in a new city, working remotely with a team in New York. I could go days without seeing anyone in real life except my husband, and I spent all my time in a teeny apartment up by the U, moving from computer to kitchen to bedroom and back. It felt like I never closed down my computer, but also never got anything done. Sounds like 2020 a little bit, does it not? And I was languishing. I felt like I had been high, and now I was low. I had been making it work, and now I wasn't. And while my Instagram feed made startup life look glamorous, I had also gone 18 months without drawing a salary. I was losing my motivation, and more importantly, I was losing my vision of what I wanted to do with my startup and my life. The approaching new year inspired me to reset. Could I give this entrepreneurial journey one last hurrah and see if I could break through? I thought of a friend who, a few years back, had been in a dating slump. She decided that for 12 months, she'd become a dating machine. And at year end, she'd give herself permission to never stress about meeting that special someone again. She openly shared her journey with friends and colleagues and went on hundreds of dates. She often wanted to quit. But in November, 11 months into the year, she met the man who would become her husband. What if, for 1 year, I gave both this company and my new life in Utah everything I possibly could? I would make no small plans. I would put myself out there, chase every opportunity, work harder and smarter, and try to operate at my peak for 365 days in a row. At the end of the year, I would either have gotten to the next level, or I would have clarity and permission from myself to move on to something else. Similarly, I hoped I would have a life I loved in my new state, too. As a magazine editor, I was trained to name trends so they would be sticky and shareable. So I will admit that the first thing I did was spend a good chunk of time trying to define a concise concept for this year-long Jumpstart challenge I was creating for myself. I was inspired by a Thomas Edison quote along the lines of, "Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration." Perspiration, that's what I was going for. But year of perspiration didn't quite have the right ring. Then someone suggested hustle. I tried it on. Year of hustle. That had a nice ring. I typed out the hashtag. Also a success. I was in. My Year of Hustle challenge started with a bang. Our startup team came together for a 2-month development sprint. And a friend and I started an online course, which added 6 months of runway to my bank account, thank goodness. When my alarm went off at 5 a.m. every day, I wasn't even too groggy. It felt like I was back in the race. Yes, there were 18-hour days in the little office we rented just up the street from here, and my diet consisted almost entirely of the Thai pizza from the pie, but I was energized and having fun. But you can guess where this story is going. By March, the adrenaline rush had worn off. We were 90% done with our new software. We'd been featured in a whole slate of national magazines. I was no longer stressed about where my next rent payment might come from. Pretty good. Except this was the year of hustle, not 2 months of hustle. And because I'd publicly shared my journey on social media and with friends, I felt accountable to keep it up. So I hustled to find my hustle. I made long lists of things I could do, and then I did them. And what I found is that the magic happens after you want to stop. So here's what I actually did during that year of hustle. I made a list of 50 people I wanted to know, and I invited them to lunch. I asked those people who I should meet. Every day, I forced myself to reach out to 3 potential big deal partners. I jumped at every chance to pitch in competitions. I hired mentors to help me shape strategy. I hosted dinner partners and co-working days in my tiny apartment, even though the only place to perch was on the couch. I began doing free phone consults with potential customers and closed sale after sale. I launched campaigns, I wireframed new ideas. I picked up lunch for our developers. I sought out speaking and writing opportunities anywhere I could, no matter how small. I sent out hundreds of packages to media and influencers. I did things that would not, could not scale. Year of hustle, I repeated to myself over and over again. I put thousands of feelers out into the world during Year of Hustle. And when I unravel the threads, it's a domino effect of those feelers and the real incredible relationships that came of many of them that led to a high point of my Year of Hustle journey. An acquisition offer for my startup by a company I deeply admired, Chatbooks. A conversation led to a speech, a tweet led to a meeting, and the story unrolled in the most organic way. In fact, every little thing that led to and positioned us for the acquisition offer was unexceptional in the Year of Hustle, and yet the sum of those actions was exceptional. My software product joined the Chatbooks suite of products, and I joined the Chatbooks team. That was in November, fittingly 11 months into the Year of Hustle. I ended the year and my challenge in an entirely different place than I began it, excited and clear about the next stage of my professional life, and as part of an amazing community here in Utah. The Year of Hustle, my personal Jumpstart Challenge, kicked me out of my slump and into my future. But you may be thinking that a challenge to break out of the pandemic slump sounds great and all, but you're also busy or tired. Over the years, I've seen people take the Jumpstart Challenge in all directions, big and small, and even something light and fun can offer a boost when done as a challenge. So I'm going to share a really basic formula for creating yourself. The formula is concept, calendar, and commit. First, concept. Find a concept that works for you. Ideally, you'd pick something that would unlock the core of your slump. This might relate to your job or career, or be physical, spiritual, about relationships, or pure fun. To spark concept ideas, I like to talk to friends, family, and colleagues. Look at what quotes inspire you, or make a vision board on Pinterest. Identify someone you want to be like, and pay attention to that little feeling of envy. If you want what she's having, is there a concept that can help you get there? When it comes to career, here are a few questions that might spark your concept. What work is high impact or has a big upside? And can you do more of it? What parts of your job do you love? Or what puts you in a state of flow? On the flip side, what doesn't come naturally to you, but you know it can make a big difference? There are so many great physical Jumpstart challenges out there, and I won't go into them all, like Whole30, 75 Hard, all the Peloton streaks. But they're also great because a challenge in one area can still unslump you in other areas of your life. And if all else fails, make it the summer of tacos. Who knows where that concept can lead? Next up is calendar. Define both your length of time and when you'll start and end. It's hard to muster the energy to do anything forever, but a set time lets you know when you'll end and gives you that feeling of crossing the finish line. It doesn't take a year to break out of a slump, and many concepts lend themselves to shorter seasons. Try on your theme with a week, a month, 100 days, a summer, a quarter. There's a whole range of possibilities. I suggest picking a Goldilocks period, something that feels doable but also a little uncomfortable. For example, if working on your novel every day for a week feels in your comfort zone, make your challenge a month. And by the way, as you pair your concept with your calendar, you get big bonus points if you can create a fun phrase with it. Rhymes, alliteration, pop culture references, riffs on common sayings, all go a long way to make your Jumpstart Challenge feel real and important. Finally, there's commit. Commit to yourself by making a plan, and commit as publicly as you can, everywhere as you can. This might mean with friends or family, on social media, simply writing it down, and take people along on your journey. It makes it more fun for you, and it makes it easier to keep going. This is especially helpful when you reach that March moment, when you're a few steps in, and you start to question if you really need to go all the way to the finish line. In my year of hustle story, March was when it seemed like I had achieved enough and was ready to ease off the gas pedal. But remember, the magic happens after you want to stop. So, if you are up for getting your mojo back this summer, I'll be right there alongside you. I'm committing to a Chatterbox June where I'll meaningfully connect with someone each day. Please help me kickstart it afterwards by saying hello. And I'm doing a totally fun one with the Chatbooks team, that summer of tacos I mentioned earlier. January is a new year, and they say September is the new year. But in 2021, it feels like today is the fresh start and new beginning we've all been waiting for. So let's go kick that slump and make it a summer to remember. Thank you.
Oh, Rachel, thank you so much for sharing your story with all of us, and this will be a summer to remember, no doubt. We would like to welcome back on stage our presenting sponsor representatives and are now pleased to move to the recognition part of today's program and learn more about the incredible women being honored today. Please turn your attention to the video screens.
I love to learn, so I always think I'm a lifelong student, and so every day I feel like I get to learn something new, whether it's about a teammate, a colleague, a problem to solve, a challenge, or something interesting in business. So I think my favorite part is just every day a new challenge, new something to learn. I've been really lucky because, I think I've had a great network, great mentorship. One of the things I'm trying to do now that I've kind of been in the position I'm in and the more tenure I have in my career is really to sponsor other women in business, because I've been so fortunate, both male and women sponsors and mentors I've been lucky enough to have, and I'd like to really support other women in business, in finance. It's just a really great place for me to spend some energy, now that I'm kind of where I'm at.
Please welcome to the stage the Chief Financial Officer with Overstock, Adrienne Lee.
So I got to where I am at Purple. I actually started as the controller of the company a month after they launched in January 2016. Most of my career had been in accounting, but I had actually done my schooling in finance, so I had more of a passion for finance. And so we brought in a new CFO, and he said, we need a finance department. We need someone to build one of those. And so, raised my hand and said, I'll do it. I got a lot of my opportunities just by asking for them, and And a lot of the time, I got told no, and sometimes it's because I wasn't quite ready, and sometimes it's because they wanted to go in a different direction. So many of the things that fed into me being where I am today are because I spoke up and I asked for opportunities, and I was willing to be told no over and over again.
Please welcome to the stage Tony Carbone, Chief of Staff with Purple. He's accepting the award today on behalf of Alicia. So congratulations to Alicia, who's watching the event virtually today. Please, everyone, one more round of applause so she can hear us wherever she's watching today.
I joined Evoke Nano last spring as I was looking for a place to transition into the private sector. I'd worked in nonprofits and I'd worked in government sector and was looking for a chance for growth and opportunity. And this startup came along that's doing amazing things with some great technology and just seemed like the right fit for me. One of the critical lessons I learned in the public sector and working for nonprofits is to put a face on every issue, to see that there's a human side to every challenge and see that there's always a person behind the difficulty or the obstacle that you're trying to solve. You see every challenge as a need to meet a need for a person. And once you understand who that person is, you can better tailor a solution. You can better communicate a clear message. You can reach them where they are when you see the people behind the problem.
Please welcome, for her work as Acting Executive Officer with Evoke Nano, Amy Isom.
I started my career in the nonprofit, and in that area, I learned a ton about how important access to technology is to everyone, but especially to underserved communities. Ultimately, I came across Pluralsight, which their mission really is to democratize technology skills. And in that really sort of married my passion for digital marketing and my passion for working with underserved communities. I'm really looking forward to finding out sort of what's next in the digital world. There's a lot of things changing. I think that's something that I'm really looking forward to, just as sort of that next little, where is this going to take us?
Please welcome Amy Skyling, Head of Digital Experience with Pluralsight.
What I most like having my daughters see as examples of women out doing amazing things, and what I most hope for them is to not think that's unusual at all, that this is normal. When my daughters play Barbies, it's really funny the narrative that they have. They'll talk about, you know, so-and-so Barbie is going on a business trip, and so-and-so Barbie has a really important business meeting, and it just like warms my heart, because I didn't have that when I was a kid playing Barbies, and that's the sort of reality I want for them. I think my goal overall is to hopefully bring up my women associates and to mentor them to hopefully join me in firm equity partnership one day, and that's probably my ultimate career goal.
Let's all give a warm welcome to Ashley Peck, environmental attorney and partner with Holland & Hart, LLP.
favorite part of being a businesswoman in Utah is there are very few barriers. I think there are a lot of opportunities. People want you to succeed here, and there's a great support system. We lean on each other. I have a great network of friends, family, colleagues who I think genuinely have my best interests at heart and truly want me to succeed. Abundance mentality, I think, pays off in the end. For me to be on the education side is kind of an interesting path that I didn't expect. As a small business owner, I thought that I would stay in, small business ownership or corporate. I was in corporate for a long time. But now being able to give back to other small businesses, it's a blast. I love it. It's really rewarding, and they're my heroes.
Please give a warm welcome to the Executive Director with the Mill Entrepreneurship Center and Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses at Salt Lake Community College, Beth Colosimo.
I've never been the person that's the expert on any particular topic, and in a field like mine that's really deep tech oriented, that's often seen as a weakness. What I have been able to do is pick and choose the experiences in order to stitch together the future that I want for myself. And so I'm really proud of myself to be able to actually market myself. It's something that women don't do very well or don't think to do, and it's something that I continue to try and foster and build for myself. Our underlying mission has always been around supporting minorities and women in STEM businesses. We've been able to accomplish that by supporting 80% of our companies are actually founded by minorities or women, which is just an incredible thing when you think about the Utah landscape, the healthcare landscape, and who's running it. I'm excited to see how our companies shape and the support systems they're building here in Utah.
Please welcome to the stage Sunanda Hack, the Executive Director at Altitude Lab, a Recursion and University of Utah incubator.
Growing up, I loved to read, and I always wanted to either be an author or something in the communications field. Later in high school, that changed into journalism, so I guess I'm in the right field because I work with reporters and the media. I think the absolute favorite thing that I've done so far in my career is a lot of the work that we do in the nonprofit space and supporting the community. I serve on several different boards for organizations that I'm very passionate about, and it's nice to work for a company that values community investment, and I actually get to do that as part of my job. And so I think mentoring youth is something that I find to be really, really valuable. I think growing up in my childhood, and especially growing in my career, I didn't really have too many folks that looked like me or had too many folks to look up to, and so that is definitely an area of interest for me. I try to give back in that way.
Deneva is watching the event virtually today, so we say congratulations to you and all of us. Let's give her a big round of applause. Thank you. Now let's learn about our next honoree.
A valuable lesson I learned over the course of my career in Nu Skin is really empathy, right? And walking and trying to walk in other people's shoes, bringing a different life experience with every person you meet. Just the ability to say not everybody is the same and not everybody has the same life experience. So you always have to not have a fixed mindset. and this is not a cliche, making a difference is fulfilling. It's really fulfilling. Yeah, it sounds corny, but it's true. Yeah, to me, it was about that. That has had a significant impact in my life.
Please welcome Avita Singh Song, Global Head Customer Experience with Nu Skin Enterprises.
From a pretty young age, my parents gave me a Mickey Mouse doctor's bag that had a bunch of like little toy stethoscopes, and I ripped all of that stuff out and put crayons and paper in there and went around the neighborhood representing kids who wanted an extra cookie or wanted their grounding reduced or something like that. And so, at 6, you have a pretty high success rate. What a cute, weird little kid. I have a law firm filled with really good lawyers who are even better people. We have a really strong no jerks policy in the office. We all work together towards solving problems for our clients. There's not a lot of finger pointing or anything. If something isn't working well, we just kind of band together to do the best we can for our client. And that's what I've been proud of, is everybody enjoys being in the office and working there, and I don't ever want that to change. So we've been a little restrictive on growth because I want to preserve that.
Please welcome Heidi Goebel, Managing Partner and Attorney with Goebel Anderson PC.
The journey from France, where I was born, to Utah is very long and convoluted. My parents traveled all over the world for work, so as a child, I was really used to traveling all over the world with them. When I became an adult, always willing to take a new role if it meant going somewhere else. And I made many stops along the way. I went from Europe to the States, went back to Europe. I've lived all over the world and slowly but surely found my way to Park City, Utah. I don't think too much about my gender when it comes to business. I think about, I'm president of a company, I do my job, I do it well, and my gender is sort of irrelevant. If we stop talking about people's genders or people's sexuality or their ethnicity or their color of their skin, then we can really dive into thought leadership and diversity in a really meaningful way.
Please welcome to the stage the president of Walker Edison, Joanna McKenna.
I didn't always see myself doing this. I had a lot of other dreams along the way. Growing up, I thought I wanted to be a pediatrician or a picture book author. But life kind of throws things at you and things develop organically along the way, and you never know where you're gonna end up, and that's what makes it exciting. I think what motivates me most is all the people who are around me who support the things that I do. Growing up, my dad, he was an obstetrician. Really didn't want me to be a doctor, so I went to medical school as an act of defiance. But despite all of it, all the decisions that I made, the sharp lefts and the curves in the path, everyone who is around me has supported every decision I've ever made. And so that's what really drives me, is being able to live up to their dreams for me and their vision of what I could possibly be.
Please welcome June Chen, Managing Partner of Mountain Pacific Venture Partners.
So my mom was a really good example of someone who did really hard things. And so I followed her lead and decided that I needed to do some really hard things to accomplish my dreams and my goals. What that looked like for me was putting myself through college, getting my CPA license, and just not taking no for an answer. It is incredibly fulfilling to build things from the ground up, especially from the team perspective. I love watching people come in, they're qualified to do a certain job and they're awesome, but then I get to tap into that potential even more. So the most fulfilling part is helping people to tap into the potential that's in them and to just lock arms with them to do the big things that we're going after as a company.
Okay, let's give a big welcome to the Vice President of Accounting with Lucid, Candace Lambert.
I was in 3rd grade and I had a school counselor who was talking to us kids. My parents divorced when I was very young. And the counselor said, "It's okay if you guys don't amount to anything. Statistically, the odds are against you." And that was what she said. And looking back, I'm like, what? But I was just really proud of being able to tell myself in that moment, I refused to be a statistic. And I found myself propelled into more advanced classes and learning because I wanted to make a difference and didn't want the situation of my childhood or my life to be an excuse that would prohibit me from achieving my dreams. One of my favorite things about working in talent acquisition is getting to know different candidates, getting to hear their stories, trying to find out what motivates people and understanding what we can bring to create like a mutually beneficial relationship. It's really cool too when you see people who have a passion for something and they've been working so hard to get a chance to work in that thing, and then to be able to help them enter that process and kind of realize their dreams.
Congratulations and welcome to the stage, Kristen Adair, Vice President of Talent Acquisition with Tech9.
What motivates me is curiosity. I'm curious about people and everybody's background and kind of what makes them tick and what motivates them. I think I maybe missed a calling to also perhaps be a bit of a psychologist or therapist, if you will, because I really love learning about people, and the people that you interact with on a day-to-day basis have many more layers, within their home life and their personal life, and it's just so fascinating and so exciting to meet people and understand what motivates them. I'm an interesting mix of left brain, right brain, and I like to do things by the book. I like to have a path. I like to have a clear set on what it is that's going to happen, but at the end of the day, you also have to follow your intuition. You can ask for advice from others and certainly consult, but you really have to do what's right for you and right in your core and your belief system, and to use that to move you forward.
Give a warm welcome to Head of Client Engagement with Struck, Kylie Kulak.
kind of saw myself, I think, being an entrepreneur if I did anything at all. I wanted to be a mom. I graduated from BYU in the entrepreneurship program, so I knew I liked that, but I didn't know if I really had the courage to get out and do anything by myself. I thought maybe I would just be comfortable being a mom, but here I am. I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned is to use other people's expertise. Don't feel like you have to know or do everything yourself. I think sometimes coming into this thought I have to be able to do everything myself and save money and, but I found it's well worth it to invest in good people who know what they're doing, and that I'm gonna do a lot better and be a lot more successful if I do that.
Please welcome to the stage Kirsten Anderson, founder and president of Azalea and Crescent Hall Event Venues.
About 3 years ago, a friend of mine reached out and said, hey, I'm going to be speaking at Adobe. It's a women in sales event. You're going to be there. And I didn't even have a clue what it was. I told her, sure. And I grabbed some coworkers from Lucid, where I was working at the time. And we went to the event and we talked about it after and thought, there should be a group here for women because we all feel kind of isolated and there's just not very many of us. And so we decided to put on an event, and we realized that there was a need for this type of community. So that was the beginning of it. This is a group that's changing things. It's changing the way that businesses operate. It's opening up opportunities. So it's not just where we get together and we chat. It's not. It's all about education. It's all about getting more women on sales teams, getting diversity into companies that really need to have some diversity. So there's a lot more to it than sometimes what meets the eye.
Please welcome Lynette Richardson, president of Utah Women in Sales.
I'm passionate about my work because what I'm trying to do is to create a bridge and also an understanding between communities that often don't have a mutual understanding. So to me, that is the work that we do on a daily basis, ensuring that we have the bridge, we communicate, and we communicate with everyone. My parents came as political asylees. I was 6 years old. I saw what democracy didn't look like. My commitment to the community is bringing people together, because when you see a country that's fighting among themselves, in this case, 1973 coup d'etat in Chile, you don't ever want to see that happen. And I think that's why it's so important to have that bridge, because after all, we all want the same thing. We want good communities. We want, our children to be educated and be proud of what we do.
Please give a warm welcome to the president of Vox Creative and recently appointed deputy director with the Salt Lake City Economic Development Department, Loretta Rifo-Jensen.
Food industry, there's just always sort of a 911 emergency, and it becomes like a second nature to just problem solve and figure things out. I love that, and I love to be able to make other people's lives a little easier. So I really enjoy that, the challenge of by the end of the day, making sure the email box is totally clean and everyone is settled until tomorrow morning. There's a lot of different people who have influenced me in my life, but I always go to people who have demonstrated resilience, people who have done hard things, gotten through hard situations, come back stronger. If I could teach anything to my children, my 4 daughters, it would be learn resilience and watch people who have gotten through things. Yeah.
Please welcome to the stage Miriam Cheney, Vice President of Food and Beverage with Savory Management.
In high school, I took an advertising class and I was like, wait, people make money doing this? This is so cool. I want to get into this. So instantly, my junior year, I started taking marketing classes and instantly fell in love, interned for an agency at a young age, and my career was off. I love being a woman in marketing because I think marketing is a lot of intuition. And I think as women, we bring that to the business workplace anyway, but especially in marketing, being in tune with what our customers are wanting, what they're needing, and meeting those needs through marketing, I think that it's a big asset being a woman in that role. One of the biggest lessons I've learned is as you come up through your career, it's those hard experiences that actually shape your career. And at the time you're going through them, it's really hard to understand that, but you look back and you're really actually grateful for those lessons learned, the people that you met along the way. I would say there's been a lot of those throughout my career.
Please welcome Megan Johnson, Senior Vice President of Marketing with Jane.
I always say that it's a good thing that I'm an entrepreneur because my resume makes no sense. It's all over the place. So my undergrad was in special ed, and I was a special ed teacher. And then I did a master's degree in public health, and that really got me propelled into thinking globally. We now work with artisan groups all over the globe, and we are a bridge to connect them to large buyers, taking a lot of time this indigenous craft that's been passed down from mother to daughter, and we bring like a Western functionality to cater to this market, and then we make that connection. And now we see that we can become a go-to platform for artisans around the world to bring them access to the market.
Give a warm welcome to Melissa Sevi, founder and CEO of Ethic.
Reef Life Foundation deploys mineral-based artificial reefs to save corals and build homes for the ocean's homeless. That's what we do best. I had my own business when I was 24. I've always been in business. I came from an innovation background. My father invented the term risk management. And so having that business background made it easier because we were already into nanomaterial science. That's really our background. How do you make a nanoparticle activate so it can do its job 1,000 times better than it was going to? We have a place in the future of the planet to be able to know that you're making a difference, to know that you are healing a part of our planet. It's really beautiful.
Let's give a big welcome to the co-founder and CEO of the Reef Life Foundation, Melody Saunders-Brenna.
So the Salt Lake Area Restaurant Association was created 5 years ago because there was a need for representation for independent restaurant and bar owners. We do lobbying, we do informational services, we do networking, we connect them, because entrepreneurs have this unique experience where they're kind of alone. We try to help them with that and connect them with other people where they can feel like they're part of a collective community. I love working with the restaurant owners and bar owners. They're a unique group. They're always so grateful and lovely and kind. Their heart runs deep, and it's so inspiring to watch how they exist, you know, no matter how tough things get. So that's been my biggest pleasure.
Please welcome Michelle Corigliano, the Executive Director of the Salt Lake Area Restaurant Association and the owner of EasyFoodHandlers.com.
Street's an amazing place. I came here, having been in Boston, Chicago, California, and the amount of charitable giving and caring in this state is like no other. I mean, you just feel it, right? And 4th Street's a nonprofit, and we rely on grants and donations and family funds and corporations and hospitals, and it's concerning sometimes. Okay, I'm going to be in homeless services. What are we going to be able to do? We're not going to have enough money. How are we going to create programs? And it's the opposite here, and that was just really exciting to be a part of something like that. So I always have had this passion for underserved communities. I wouldn't say that I knew it was always homelessness, but now working with homeless patients is incredibly gratifying, and to be able to give to people who are really in need in that moment just feels really awesome.
Please welcome Michelle Goldberg, the Medical Director with the 4th Street Clinic.
When I announced that I was retiring, my 15-year-old looked at me and said, "Mom, do you have a plan?" And I was like, what do you mean by a plan? And he said, "Well, when you're bored, you come up with things for me to do, and I don't think that's a very good idea." So that was a little bit of encouragement to perhaps go back to work. And Karis provided a really interesting opportunity to do something that I thought was both commercially viable, but also had a really important mission embedded in it. I think that it's a great time to be a businesswoman in Utah. I would not have said that 10 years ago. In fact, I spent most of my younger years thinking that I would have to leave the state in order to have a career. But I've been incredibly fortunate to have found jobs here that have really stretched me, where I've been able to grow, where I've been able to work on really interesting things. I think now is the perfect time for women to really stand up and take leadership roles, because I think we have important things to say.
Please welcome to the stage Misty Frost, Chief Executive Officer with Karis.
Entrepreneurship is just runs in my blood. You know, my family migrated here from the Fiji Islands, opened up a restaurant. My mom opened up the first Indian sort of clothing store in Centerville, Utah. My dad opened up an Indian restaurant. So I knew that I was going to open up my own business. I was going to do my own thing. So I took my entrepreneurial spirit and my wanting to give back to really creating more of an inclusive state and combined them together and started Shift SLC. I started Shift SLC so that I could open up doors for women, particularly women of color, and I've ran across so many great talented women of color who want to get into the diversity and inclusion space, who are actually really great experts. For me, it's exciting to start a business that can open up doors for folks and to kind of eradicate that whole ideology of imposter syndrome.
Please give a warm welcome to Neelam Chand, the founder and CEO with Shift SLC.
Out of high school, I worked in the nonprofit sector, and it always had a piece of my heart. I was raised by two public defenders, so community-oriented and social justice work was always part of my upbringing. And then I had a little bit of a detour in life, and I thought I was going to go to law school myself. So I worked in the legal field for about 10 years before relocating to Utah about 6 years ago and deciding to make the conscious shift back to the nonprofit sector. Really the mission-driven work of the YWCA and other organizations I've worked for throughout my career, both professionally and as a volunteer, that's what motivates me day in and day out. I show up every day to support the staff and to support the clients who are making really difficult decisions and going through really difficult periods in their life, and we just get it done.
Please give a warm welcome to Nora Trinidad Shawley, the Chief Operations Officer with YWCA Utah.
I started out as a chemical engineer. My undergraduate's in engineering. I was a math science nerd, so never saw it. But if I look back, Oprah always talks about the whispers. There were whispers for education because I always loved school. Even when I went to business school, I took an education industry class and was in the education industry club. So I knew if I really thought about it, there was a passion there, but it wasn't until I moved to Utah that I really joined higher ed and decided that I wanted to get the doctorate and stick with it. What I love the most about being in sort of business and education, because I work at the David Eccles School of Business, is that I think it was Mandela who said that education is our most powerful weapon to change the world. And I really feel like we're doing that every day. So every day I come in, either I'm meeting with a student and you directly see that impact, or you're setting a foundation for them to be successful and make a difference in the world after they graduate. And that's just so meaningful. You can't really get better than that.
Welcome to Ruchi Watson, the Managing Director for the David Eccles School of Business and the Goff Strategic Leadership Center at the University of Utah.
My biggest advice for my younger self would be to have gratitude in every single moment of your job or your career You know, it's easy to have gratitude in the wins. It's easy to celebrate and think, gosh, I've got it all together. But when the challenges come, and they will, but if you can find gratitude in the challenges, that's when you really learn something. Being a woman in the workplace isn't always easy. There's politics, there's a lot of things that you have to overcome besides just managing life. A lot of us are moms, right? A lot of us are spouses or best friends, or we have ailing parents, and you have a whole life outside of work. The reality is, if we can learn to encourage each other, we can learn to help each other, pull each other's hands up to the top, there can be a lot more women at the top of companies. There can be a lot more women that can be powerful in business and mentor others. So when you encourage each other, you, I think, just build belief, right? You're a belief breather into other people, and I think that is a really big gift that you can pass on.
Congratulations and welcome to Sarah Biergard, Regional President of North America with Young Living Essential Oils.
I started Archive Sunday in August of 2020. I'm a college student, I'm a senior in the political science program at BYU, and like a lot of college kids, I lost my job and my scholarship because of coronavirus. And so I was at home all summer and I downloaded the TikTok app, and like a lot of kids, fell into fandom TikTok, so watching videos about Star Wars and Harry Potter. And after observing TikTok for a couple of months, I realized that there was really a huge opportunity for small businesses to market their products on TikTok. The algorithm on TikTok is very unique and allows businesses or creators to get their content in front of a lot of people if it's high quality content. And so from the beginning, I had the idea of, could you start a company that was entirely focused on advertising through fandoms on social media? And so it went from a tiny little side hustle to a international business basically overnight, which was quite surprising.
Welcome to the founder and CEO of Archive Sunday, Sasha Sloan.
Plans to go into theater and be into drama or something, or be creative. I never wanted to be an engineer, for sure, and my sisters are both engineers, so I wanted to do something which was very creative, but at the same time, yes, with technology, because I think based on my parents' background and how we were raised, technology was going to be there, and we knew that. So I got into information systems and then slowly got really excited about cybersecurity. To be the only woman in the room, I would say back in the day, maybe a decade ago, would frustrate me. But now, as I've grown, I guess, older or more experienced, I find it fascinating, and I kind of feel sorry for the people who judge me, to say that, my goodness, we need to change this together. The biggest problem when I walk into a room and I'm the only female is I think there's such a lack of awareness about this whole field and what it does and what it takes us to make that field so successful.
Welcome to Shalini Kaser, Professor and Director of MS Cybersecurity and Information Assurance with Southern Utah University.
fell in love with journalism at a younger age. I loved to read the newspaper. I loved to read magazines. I was that little girl sitting there reading the travel magazines, reading the New York Times, going through the articles. And I knew when I was in high school that what I wanted to do was write. I wanted to tell stories. I wanted to dig deep and find those people who have a story to tell that wouldn't necessarily get that chance. And so when I transitioned into marketing, it was actually really easy because that's what marketing is. And shifting into product marketing, I'm just telling the story of what our technology does. It's a complex problem to solve, but every day it's really fun. My parents always pushed us really hard when we were growing up to be smart, to think, to be curious, and to really push the boundaries of what we think is possible. And I would want that for my daughter as well. Like, how do you challenge them every day to be brave and to be bold and to do things that they don't think they're capable of?
Welcome from MX, the Director of Product Marketing, Shaylee Lons.
Younger, I studied theater in high school. I really love, anything that had to do with the arts. Once I started at Discover, I found a different love, and it was really just people leadership and developing people and finding a different way of utilizing my talents to help others, and that's really how I developed my career. I guess my biggest wish is hopefully other people will be inspired by the fact that it's never too late. I graduated in 2014. I got my bachelor's degree while I was starting a family, and was able to develop this great career at Discover. And I had no idea when I first started that that's where I was gonna land. So I think hopefully inspiring others with similar stories to know that you can achieve a better life, you can achieve your goals, and it might just not be in the timeline that society expects it to be.
Please give a warm welcome to our final honoree for the day, Zadie Moore, the Regional Operations Director with Discover Financial Services. Okay, let's once again give these amazing women a round of applause. Loudest of the afternoon. Thank you. Human beings are far more likely to feel like they are capable of following a career path if they see someone who looks like them doing that job. So ladies, there are little girls all over our state watching you. You could be a reason a young woman runs for public office, becomes a CEO, does anything. You are blazing a trail for the next generation of strong business women, and for that, we say thank you. Before we go, round of applause for that. Okay, before we go, I've got the bowl. We do want to talk about a reception prize that we're excited to give away this afternoon. A big thank you to Walker Edison for graciously donating a $500 gift card. We're going to draw the name, and the winner will be able to pick up that certificate at the registration table. And I feel a lot of pressure to have to do that. Okay, Sheridan Wickens-Fogg, you're the winner. And I'll leave it here for verification. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit of housekeeping before we say farewell. Congratulations to the 2021 30 Women to Watch, and thank you to all of our sponsors for the gracious support today. As a reminder, your parking is paid for, and if you did not receive a voucher when you checked in, please make sure you get one from a Utah business staff member at the registration table before you leave. We do like to do our partner recycling, so if you would, please leave your name badge on your table or at the registration table. Thank you again for coming today to celebrate these 30 incredible women, and have a wonderful day.